So, maybe I need to start my thought pattern again while I'm doing this lovely walk. The houses around here are actually really beautiful. You know what? So I'm recording this on an iPhone, and it's interesting, but I don't think I can change from the front camera to the back camera without stopping the video, which seems really silly. It goes to show how little, up until this point, I've actually cared about even taking photos. It's never been my thing. Photos and videos. My wife takes a million photos. Well, yeah, she takes a million photos and videos pretty much all the time. Whenever we go anywhere or go out, she's taking photos and videos. And I always just thought it was just really weird, and well, not weird, I didn't think it was that weird, but it wasn't something that I sort of cared about because, I don't know, it wasn't where my focus was. So, yeah, what's going to be interesting is me learning how to actually take these videos that I'm doing and actually put them on the internet. I wonder, maybe I should live stream my thoughts. I'll probably do that, but maybe I'll do it after I figure out, get into the groove of things a bit more. So I wonder if there's a better video app that I can get for the iPhone that will allow me to do more things. I'll definitely have to look into that. So like can't really see too well, but I'll show you later on, but some of the houses around here are really beautiful. It's a bit of a McMansion suburb where I live, and yeah, it's like I'm going through a midlife crisis. I'm suffering from depression and lack of will and lack of energy, and having a nervous breakdown, which is part of the reason why I'm starting a YouTube channel or doing this. Is maybe I feel like it might be therapeutic to just talk to the world about myself. I really don't know what I'm going to get out of it, if anything. For all I know, it could be really bad. I could be making a huge mistake by doing this. But I figure, worst thing that can happen is people online insult me and try and hurt my feelings, and maybe they'll succeed. And probably the worst thing that I can think is people that I know watching my videos and then being negative or disrespectful about what I say, or what I'm doing, or whatever it is. But I don't see myself being deliberately provocative, or having really particularly abnormal things to say that people are going to attack me for. So I guess we'll see what happens. Perhaps what will be the case is that people just find these videos boring because it's just me rambling, because I'm talking to myself essentially. Even though I feel like, I'm doing this to put it out on YouTube for other people to look at, obviously. In the moment, I'm not talking to any other individual directly. I'm talking to either myself or no one, or everyone. So, yeah. So this is the first long video that I've taken for my channel. So a few days ago, I decided that I would start a YouTube channel, and one of the reasons why I decided that was because I was actually watching YouTube and coming across videos where other people were just talking about their lives, and some of them I got things out of. People, I think we've gotten into a society, or maybe it's just me, where there's a bit of a lack of talking about what's really going on in our lives, because for me at least, we go to work and we talk about work while we're at work. So there's another guy coming down the street, and this makes me pause because it's the first time I will have walked past somebody while I'm videoing and they don't know. So I'll just say hi. Hey, how you going? So yeah, I'm probably going to need to get used to that. Other YouTubers that I've seen, they just leave the camera rolling, say hi. Other people don't seem to really mind, so I guess that's what I need to do. I worry slightly about whether other people might not want to appear in the videos, but I think it's probably going to be bad luck for them. But I also saw another video where the person, or the YouTuber, had obviously sort of blurred out everyone else, so that they, you could see that there was someone else there. You could sort of vaguely see what their size and shape, but not immediately recognisable. So I might need to think of something like that. I'm only holding the camera or the phone with my hand at the moment, and I've got my headset on, which I was really just doing because I thought I might stop and listen to music or another like audio or video while I'm walking, but hopefully I'll do more of taking videos myself than anything. You can see some of the beautiful houses around here that I'm talking about. I'd turn the camera around, except that I can't, so that's for the other side of the phone. But this one's, I really like houses like that, actually, to be honest. That's the style that I really like. My house isn't quite that style. It's actually got a flat roof. I actually prefer this. I would have preferred to buy a house like that, but anyway, I'm happy enough where I am. So yeah, so back onto my train of thought of what it is that I'm actually doing here. So I started a YouTube channel last week. I felt extremely low and depressed for reasons which are really complicated to get into, and I hope that I will be able to, and hope that I'll open up more about those things. not things that, some of the things are, going to be extremely difficult to talk about. So we'll see how far I get, and we'll see if anyone cares. I kind of wonder if anyone will. I think our attention spans are quite short now, so a video this long probably won't get a lot of viewers, but maybe if I break it up into shorts and into the more impactful sound bites, then I think that's the way it's going to work, is the more impactful sound bites, and then people might be more interested to watch the longer videos, and hopefully then get something out of it, get some engagement for me, and also hopefully some connection for the person, for the people that hopefully will watch the video. I think this might be an important thing for people moving forward. I mean, imagine a world where the people that are close to us actually do use long and short form video to express themselves in ways that they may not even be able to do face to face. It's a different thing, recording, sitting here, alone in my thoughts really, and talking about everything, versus if I was sitting here talking to a friend. It'd be a two-way conversation that would steer the conversation in a different direction, and perhaps wouldn't allow, or is a different thing to what I'm doing right now, which I have never done before. So I've never taken a video that's now going since I started the walk 20 minutes, because I had a couple of start-stops, where I'm just talking. Usually this would all be going on in my head, and I doubt it would be taking the same path. So this is definitely taking me in a different direction mentally. So we'll see where that ends up. It's quite interesting so far. There's a car backing up in front of me, trying to get out. I'll walk past because they're probably looking at me. Okay, duck under the trees. Now, you can see, how well can you see that? Not too well, but yeah, lots of lovely houses around here, as I've said. Quite high up on the hill now, and I'm going to have to cross the road. Okay, sorry, just didn't want to get run over there. Not really used to walking and talking and videoing. I'm sure I'll get a lot better at this. I wonder if we can actually see here. So if we look down here between these two houses, you'll get a bit of a concept of, we're quite high up at the moment, and there's an actual, can I get it into the frame? There's a plane which doesn't look too far away at this moment. Yeah, quite a way up. look at this view. Unfortunately, I can't zoom in on this, but it is quite beautiful around here, and I should appreciate the opportunity that I have to actually live here, which I don't. I really don't. I have a problem with that. How can I be depressed and unhappy living in a McMansion suburb? It's quite silly, quite crazy. People looking from the outside would, depending on who they are, but a lot of people would think that I've got it made and I've got everything. I've had people say that to me. So there's the hill behind, greenery behind. Yeah, I've had people say to me that, I've got everything, which is not true. I don't have everything I want in terms of money and material possessions, not by a long shot. But I should be at least, I'm not living hand to mouth, living on the streets, or looking at a future where all I have is social security. That could happen if things go wrong, and especially if governments keep screwing up our economy and the country. But I keep saying that the more we've got, the less happy we seem to be, and yet it seems to be a focus point of the money you have and the material wealth that you have is just linked in our psyche in an unbreakable way to our happiness. So yeah, that's an interesting one. Not sure if you can see this very well, but yeah, a bit of a view up here. So, I need to get back on track with my train of thought. It's almost like meditation in a way. That's interesting. So, again, started this YouTube channel. Didn't know what I was going to put on it. Actually started it as a midlife crisis channel because I was actually, the day that I started it, I was feeling incredibly low for a number of reasons. I'm actually a business owner, and things in business have been extremely tough recently, and look to be getting even tougher. The economy in Australia, I think, is headed dramatically south. I think we're going to be an extremely poor country in the next 10 to 20 years. I think there'll be poverty through the roof. So that's probably not going to be much fun for a lot of people. And I think I'm particularly vulnerable to it as well, in terms of losing the lifestyle that I used to have. I think if you're used to a certain income level and lifestyle, going down from that is the worst. Is one of the worst things. Going up is where you're happy. When you're improving, when your income is increasing, that's when you feel happy. When it's decreasing, it probably doesn't even matter if you're still above everyone else, but your income's decreasing. Then you're going to feel bad, aren't you? That's just the way we're wired, or at least that's the way I'm wired. I can't actually speak for everyone else because lots of other people probably do feel differently, and maybe they're more balanced than me. And as part of the reason for starting this channel is maybe to find some balance in my mind, in my own psyche, and my own happiness. I hope it's not a case where I just pretend to find balance and happiness. That's definitely not what I intend to do. I hope that I can genuinely find it, but that's, you still have to deal with the reality of life. I still have responsibilities. I still have a mortgage to pay. I still have a wife who is not in the same situation mentally as I am, and she is not going to be able to be happy seeing us decline either. So we've just got some other people and some kids walking the other way, so I'm going to say hello to them and probably stop talking a little bit. Hey, how you going? I've got some puppy dogs, some puppies. Hi, puppies.
Hi. Watch out, Remy.
Hi. So yeah, look at these big houses, big McMansions. Amazing. I moved to the suburb in 2009, but I actually first came to this suburb would have been in the 90s. A suburb called Jerrabomberra in New South Wales, which is just outside of Canberra. And back then I thought it was the place where I wanted to live one day. And then when I got the opportunity, I moved here. And I've been here since. So that sounds like a fairy tale. The reality has been much more difficult than that for a variety of reasons, which I'll hopefully talk about one day. Not sure if it will probably not be on this video, perhaps a future video where I talk about some of those dramas. Kind of looking forward to getting that out on off my chest, in a way. There's a lot of things actually that, when I think about it, a lot of things that have happened in my life that I think even if no one watches it, I feel like making a video and putting it on YouTube about things might be a way to process some of that negative energy. I wonder how that's going to work out for me. Yeah. So I started the YouTube channel because I was feeling really down. I was talking about a midlife crisis, which I'm not sure that this really is what that's called, but it was, I was feeling very low that day. And so I started a YouTube channel just with a couple of shorts, and surprisingly enough, I had two lovely people, or three lovely people, who subscribed to my channel, and I thought they were bots to begin with. Turns out they weren't bots, they were real people trying to actually be supportive, which encouraged me a lot, to be honest. If that hadn't have happened, I'm not sure whether I would have been doing this now. So unfortunately, I think some of the people will be looking for me to be an entertainer. I'm not sure why they would assume that, because I've not been an entertainer in any way in my life before, never done anything to entertain people. I work in IT, so an IT geek. I can't. If more than a handful of people actually want to watch my videos, I'll be a bit astounded, because, you know, who am I? But the main idea here is that just to explore, challenge myself as well, because uploading this to YouTube is going to be a challenge for me mentally. It's like, oh, what are people going to say, think? Will anyone watch it? I mean, maybe no one watching it will actually be the best outcome for me, because then no one will say anything or criticize it or comment. So I'm a bit concerned here that because I can't turn the camera around, it's just my face the whole time, and it's going to be quite boring, and it'd be better if I could turn the camera and see some more of the scenery that I'm walking past. So that's a bit tough. Maybe I'll try and do this sort of thing a bit more. Maybe hold the camera like this, but then I don't know what that's gonna do on the YouTube video when it's being played, whether it's gonna be sideways. I really know nothing about uploading videos to YouTube, and taking videos for YouTube, so I don't know how much editing and things are going to be required. It's possible that I could walk the loop again, with the camera facing the other way, and then use that to show a different part of a different view. So this house here, this one, I've got a Star of David, and Christmas time, it's Merry Christmas, a Christmas tree, and they have some lights and everything that go up around Christmas time. In fact, this area, there's quite a number of houses that really get into the Christmas lights scene and do some really impressive displays. There's one street in Jerobombra here that's extremely well known for it, and around Christmas most nights you'll get cars parking up and down the street, and kids and people, you know, looking at the magnificent Christmas light displays. So that'll be a future video for sure. I was showing that off. So more content ideas. So there's something here that, you know, I'm still, what's going through my mind is what I'm actually going to do with this content. So what I'm actually doing here. So start a YouTube channel. It's about my midlife crisis, which means it's about me. That's what it comes down to. How I'm feeling, and then who knows what it'll actually go from there. But I see other YouTube channels that are, you know, basically about other people's lives, just their lives. Some people have made reasonably popular YouTube channels where it is pretty much, it's about their situation in their lives. One of the things that I've been thinking about with my midlife crisis is work, and what happens when I can't work anymore or don't want to work anymore. Obviously, so along with my midlife crisis, I feel like I don't want to work and don't have the motivation and energy and drive to work, which is a really bad situation because I run my own business. And I think that it's pretty clear, and I have to be honest, that the business is suffering because of my performance, and my performance is suffering because of my mental state. And there's also downturn in the economy, more challenging business environment, which is just heaping pressure on to that situation, and you know, making things worse. If despite my performance being not great, if the business performance was still steady, then maybe things, you know, things definitely wouldn't be as bad, and you know, it wouldn't have come to such a crunch like it did a few days ago, where I felt like I almost needed to go to hospital, or go to a mental institution or something. So there's a guy walking in the other direction, there's a couple of guys walking in the other direction with a dog, and I'm getting a bit more nervous. So lake, how you going?
Hey, Rob.
So this is Lake Jeremombra, where people live around the lake. Some really nice houses along here, including one of my friends who lives over there. Yeah, dream houses around here. And a really nice place to walk every day. It's cloudy and overcast. It's been raining today, so it's not a beautiful sunny day, but it's still okay. It's not, the temperature is nice and cool, so that's good. Pretty much perfect day for a walk, actually, for me. Okay, so we're about the halfway mark of the walk, I think. We have to start going back uphill now. It's been up and down a bit, but now it's a bit of a steady climb back up to home before a little bit of a decline, a bit of a dip. So I might start to get a little bit short on breath in talking. We'll see how that goes. So when I run out of things to say or lose my chain of thought during these videos, I wonder how other content creators deal with that, or whether they have that issue, or whether they can just continue talking. I mean, I think that's going to be one of the challenges for me, because I know other people who can just keep talking. Like, they'll just continually talk. A few months ago, I was with my brother, my sister, my oldest sister, and her husband. And my sister's husband and my brother, they bounce off each other quite well, and they can just keep talking. Like, they both fancy themselves as comedians a bit, in a way, in that they try to be funny, at least, and sometimes are. So we were down for a weekend at my sister's place, and those two would just be talking the whole time. And my sister said to me, "I don't know how they do that." And I sort of went, "Yeah, I agree. You know, I've not ever been the person who just in a crowd is the one that's always talking." I kind of think that makes me not suited to doing this thing in particular, in taking videos where I'm just talking. But to be honest, I'm not actually necessarily planning my channel around me just talking. In fact, I'm not necessarily planning my channel that much as well. I'm seeing where it goes, but I'm open to anything else. Doing other activities, showing other things. I honestly, I'd take any idea. At the moment, I just feel like I just want to create something, create videos, and hopefully get something for myself, for my own psyche out of it. Whatever that may be, I really don't know. There's some bikers. Hi. It's dogs. The dog's barking. So now there is the question of monetization, and actually creating YouTube content for money. Now, my wife has mentioned that because I think for a lot of people that would be like some kind of fun fantasy thing to get paid to make YouTube videos. Now, I think that's extremely unlikely to like, I think I'm extremely unlikely to even meet the threshold for being monetized because I don't have a plan. I'm completely winging this. You know, I'm not doing it with some plan to make money. There's 7 billion people in the world who all have, well, who a lot of them have a smartphone and can do this. So you're competing against all of those, and I think it's almost like winning the lottery. Even if you're good and you have a plan, to actually make any amount of money from YouTube videos, you'd have to find a niche, and it has to be interesting to enough people, and some random guy's thoughts, probably unlikely. So I have to keep that in mind, that's not what this is about, and that I'm doing it for a hobby, basically to start another hobby, or to start a hobby. A lot of the hobbies that I used to have or used to be interested in are either no longer interesting to me, or I can't do anymore. So maybe this is my next hobby, and you know, maybe my ex partner, girlfriend that I was living with for a long time, she used to take photographs a lot also, and she had like a fancy like SLR camera and so on, and she was doing it just for the fun of it. That was all. It is a hobby for a lot of people, so maybe I'll get into taking some more photos, but something about video and talking about it, maybe a bit of AI video generation, could be fun to do, and yeah, that's it. So we've got some kids riding bikes, we've got young family with a baby, a stroller, walking the other direction. The skate park is over there. Hey, how you going? Hi. So crossing the road, there's a truck coming. There's cars coming the other direction. And more cars coming. Okay. Waiting. Okay, let's go. So we're just going to walk up through this park here. We had a bit of a wild storm before, with hail and everything, which is partly why trees look like this. Been a bit stripped of their bark. And dirt all over the ground. So actually it looks like taking video has potentially slowed my walk down a little bit, because I'm at, well, this video is at 45 minutes, but I did stop and start a couple of times on the videos, so it's actually longer than that, and I've still got quite a way to go, so we'll see how long it takes all up. Might be more like an hour and a half's walk. Back when I used to do this walk every day religiously, I was probably a lot fitter than I am now. So it used to take an hour, and now it's probably taking a bit longer than that, but that's fine. So one of the comments on one of my shorts was to tell you about my hobbies, which I'm thinking I should make into its own section of video, or maybe I should split the videos up. So I don't actually, I've done zero research on starting a YouTube channel, people. Just so you know, I suspect that some of the people watching this video will be people who have thought about creating their own YouTube channel, or have already created their YouTube channel, are trying it and maybe even succeeded, or or have been doing it for a while, and they might be screaming at me about doing the wrong thing, or not doing it the recommended way, or whatever. The way I'm holding the camera even. So I just want it to be clear that this is not planned. I have done zero research on how to run or take videos for YouTube. I've literally just opened the camera app on my phone and hit record. And I've worked out how to upload them to YouTube, and that's the sum of the research that I've done specifically about having a YouTube channel. If you look at my YouTube channel, you'll see that some of the videos that I have on there are from a number of years ago, when I was racing go-karts. So for a good number of years, I was competing in go-kart racing, which was a lot of fun and at times got way too serious, but sometimes I had a camera strapped to the cart, and I uploaded some of those videos to YouTube. A tiny fraction of the actual amount of go-kart racing that I did. One of the regrets that I have in life is that I think that I could have been doing this content creation when I was go-karting, and I would have had a lot of videos to share, most of which would have not been interesting to people, but it would have been something for me, in a way. I'm not completely broken up about that, because in a way it's just another material possession. Say I have all these videos of all my previous races. I would upload them to YouTube now probably, and there's a lot of go-kart racing videos on YouTube, so I don't think that they would be particularly different or exciting to many, but I think perhaps other people who are racing in go-karts might run across them in order to look at particular tracks, and that if you're traveling halfway across the country to go and race at a new track, actually pretty useful to go and watch a YouTube video of someone racing on that track to try and get a bit of pre-learning done. That would have been the value in them. To anyone else, the rest of the value would have just been to me, but that's not to be. The videos that I have, the small number of videos that I have, are up there, and they are what they are. So that's one of the hobbies that I used to have, that I was really big into. Another, when I started my business, I think that became, in a way, like a hobby. Although, when I think about it, how many people really have super serious hobbies that they're into, that they can go, this defines me. I don't think it's many. Most people go to work, do some hobbies that probably change quite quickly throughout their lives, or a hobby that they're on and off through their whole life. But it's not like most people are saying, my passion is embroidery, and I've done embroidery my whole life, and I just go to work to support my embroidery. It's more likely that someone will be who they are. Part of them is what they do as a job, and embroidery is something that they'll do occasionally, rather than their hobbies defining them. So I'd be the same. In terms of the things that I dream about, in terms of if I had no job, for example, if I was retired, what hobbies would I do to keep me entertained? Well, one of the things that I did love, both when I was a kid, when I spent probably too much time on it, but also on and off through my adult life, is games, computer games, video games, mostly PC based. So probably, when I was a kid, it was any game I could get my hands on, but probably the ones that I enjoyed the most were adventure games and driving games, like car racing games. When in adult life, there was a period there where I was playing World of Warcraft way too much. There was a period there for longer than I probably would like to admit to myself, where I would go to work, come home and log straight onto World of Warcraft, and then go from World of Warcraft to bed, and even at the worst of it, get up early so that you could get a couple of hours of World of Warcraft before going to work, and calling in sick at every opportunity so that you could play World of Warcraft instead. Actually, it was actually a dangerous addiction. That game, I think, at its peak was extremely addictive. Made worse by the fact that you could have a social network in the game. So at that time, it was me and my girlfriend who were living together, and we were both playing World of Warcraft, which was just made it even easier to have it consume your life. Weekends after weekends where it would literally be from Friday night to Monday in the AM of just like being on World of Warcraft. That was, I'd have to say that we had a lot of fun. So you can say that. You can say definitely we had a lot of fun, a lot of enjoyment. We were in a guild in World of Warcraft, which meant that you were in a team essentially with other World of Warcraft players, and so many in the guild would be on World of Warcraft all the time. Like, everyone knew, everyone was sitting there knowing that everyone else was spending major portions of their life logged onto this game, and everyone was enjoying it in the moment, and no one was talking about the downsides to be. It was a great time, like, in its own way, but also concerning, you know. However, eventually it got to the point where it became less and less exciting. I think expansion packs came out, which changed things, and broke the rhythm up enough that it just became something that you didn't want to do anymore, and you stopped. Decided that was enough. Moved on to something else. So, yeah, that was definitely an episode of my life, but I still look at games, video games, as something that occasionally I'll get back into, or when I retire, I'll have plenty of time to play all the video games that I never got a chance to play. Never had time to play, never had motivation to play. Now, the interesting thing about that is I tried to play some video games, let's say in the last 12 months. Now, older video games that I'd sort of heard of and thought, oh yeah, one day I'll play that. Now, deciding I was in a bit of a rut and needed a bit of an escape, started to play some of those games and just found no enjoyment, or very little enjoyment in it. Almost like my adult brain doesn't enjoy video games, and what's left, there isn't enough left of my childhood brain to enjoy them anymore. So part of me fears that, if I was to retire and think that, it'd be fantastic if I can catch up on all these video games that I never got to play because I was too busy, and then when I actually go to play them, I find that there's no enjoyment. That's a highly likely probability. So maybe it won't be the case. Maybe what will actually happen is that once I spend the isolated time to get back into the games, that I'll find a renewed enjoyment. But it's something I'll most likely find out. One of the games that I did enjoy, which was definitely well into my adult life, was Witcher 3. Now, Witcher 3 was a bit of an interesting one because when I think I was playing World of Warcraft and I'd had enough of it, decided to try Witcher 3 because, it had a name and it wasn't the same as World of Warcraft. It's a single player game, you're playing by yourself, there's no social interaction, and it was a whole learning curve that at that time I wasn't willing to make. But then I had an issue with my lower back, very serious issue with my lower back, where I had to get a bi-level fusion of the discs in my lower back, which meant I had to spend weeks in hospital, and then weeks again at home recovering. And during that period, I started playing Witcher 3, got into it, different situation, I had nothing else to focus on, and really enjoyed it. And funnily enough, I actually ended up playing Witcher 1 and 2 and then going back and finishing Witcher 3. So I actually ended up playing all 3 games, and to be honest, that made the time in hospital and the time recovering whiz past, because you can, once you're into a video game like that, 16 hours goes like nothing. But Witcher 3, as far as I can tell, probably the best video game ever made. Not sure if anything's topped it. I can't claim to have played every video game, but other people have said that, claimed that, and there's nothing else that I can see, or that I have seen, that makes me think it could be a contender. The only thing that I think is a contender is World of Warcraft, but around the second and third, or the first, second, third expansions of World of Warcraft, and then I think after that World of Warcraft just became too much of a mess. and they did things that I think broke the social aspect for a lot of people. But that was, yeah, well, it was probably the changes to the World of Warcraft game probably helped me to quit. And in a way, it was interesting because it was like the developers were almost doing it on purpose, because they probably had made enough money and had probably decided that what they were doing with this hugely addictive game consuming people's lives wasn't what they wanted to continue to do, and they wanted to make a game that was less addictive, and they succeeded, to the detriment of their own business. If that's really the way that they went, then good on them. They sacrificed their own business for the good of, or for what they thought was the good of humanity. That's wild. That's actually pretty wild. So, Blizzard sitting there going, we've got millions of subscribers paying $30 per month, but they're all spending way too much time on this game. We've got to reduce the number of hours that they spend on this game. And by doing that, they not only reduced the number of hours that people spend on the game, but they alienated the player base completely, where millions of people quit. I'm sure they would have probably thought to themselves, oh, we can do this where people are happy to spend 2 hours per day on the game, but that's not how it worked out. How it worked out is that they made enough changes in the game that people would have gotten over it anyway. Maybe it had its run. People weren't going to do it forever. That's probably true. But I think they also they did things possibly deliberately to encourage people to play it less, and the intended or unintended consequence of that was a massively reduced player base of World of Warcraft. However, saying that, I think World of Warcraft is still doing reasonably well. It's still going as far as I know, and I think I heard that there was a new expansion coming out. And yeah, so maybe there'll be a resurgence one day. But maybe one day I'll have another go at it when I'm not worried about consuming my whole life playing it. So, back at my street now. I think I'll continue in another video about my hobbies, but that was my daily walk. I'm up to 108 minutes at the moment on this video, plus I think it was another 10 in the previous one that I'll probably edit and merge together or do something before I upload it. I wonder if anyone will actually get to the end of this video, me rambling, but we'll find out. So if you're still here listening, thanks very much.